What is happening, guys? Welcome back to Redbeard's Garage, and we are doing the shock therapy build out on our shocks. They're basically going to revalve our Fox live valve suspension and put new coil springs on. So we have to pull off these shocks. Super simple. We just unplug them, pull them off. But the problem is they're going to be gone for over a week. So I may make me some fake shocks out of steel to put back in there so it's not sitting, you know, so I can roll it out and get it out here. But super pumped to be working with shock therapy. I've heard nothing but good things about their suspension upgrades, and this Talon with the extra weight and parts on the back of it, we bottom out the shocks all the time on jumps and stuff. Not even on jumps, on just like little whoops and stuff. So I'm super pumped to get this done. The Talon really needs it, so let's get them off. All right, this thing has a ton of down travel because of the fact that we're not getting all of our, you know, like we're below 50% travel at ride height, like way below. Ben Pack's the type of company I'd let my sister date. Let's face it, I'd let anybody date her. So what we're gonna wanna do, since we have the live valve suspension, we need to unplug the top of our shocks. So that's what we're gonna do. We have this little cap. We're gonna just pop it to the side. There. Has this little boot on it that's bad about coming off with it. We're just gonna tuck this inside and just pop that like so. And there we go. Now we just take out the 4 bolts. 17 mils. I'm gonna lift up a little bit. Okay. So we've already done the passenger side. Now we're on to the driver. We gotta pop this piece of plastic back to unplug our shock, our live valve. See, this is what's bad about these plugs they use. It's got the cover will come off of them. It's like I've never seen a plug be like that, and it bothers me. Okay, nevertheless, we got that unplugged. So now the other side, you had to take out this inner fender. You got a series of clips. It kind of goes up and wraps around. We didn't film it because I thought I'd be doing it on this side, but I didn't have to. So we're just going to remove this, and then I'll show you what I'm doing to hold my chassis, because we have no shocks on the front of that, but it's holding itself up because we bent some steel. So it looks like I can fit, without having to take off anything, I should be able to fit this in there. Come on, baby. There we go. It don't lock, like it's in there in a really weird angle. I'm sure it's probably easier if you take out that, which is just a series of clips again, but I'm not doing that. All right, so we actually had to push that down to get that out, which is strange. So for the rear, I cut a piece of 1-inch 14 gauge tubing. I didn't have any 11 gauge, and it really don't matter because we're just rolling this outside. So I cut this to 26 inches. Now I'm gonna flatten about 1.25 inches, 1.5 or so on each side, and then drill a 31/64 drill bit, drill a hole through it. And this is gonna be a stationary shock for us. And the front I did 23 inches, and then just, I'm not being accurate, these are just stops for when it's taken apart. So we can take it in our Chinesian press here. Like I said, we're just going to flatten the end down. I'm going to lift it up, flip it. You see how it's curved? I'm going to press it a little bit this way just to straighten up that curve. I'll kick like that, and then I'll grab. Okay, and there we go. I'm going to flatten it in. I'm going to do the same thing to this side. Just make sure you get it straight in there. You know, where this is flat as well out here. Cool. I got my drill bit already loaded up. Like I said, I'm not measuring any type of hole or anything. I'm just getting it about 1/4 inch from the end. Drilling a hole in her. Then I got a 3/4 inch deburr bit, countersink bit. I'll run my drilling low. If you do too high speed, it'll chatter and the hole gets all choppy. You can see we got a nice bevel on there. Now we can just bolt this in place and we can take our buggy off the jack stands. I don't know why they put the bolts in from behind, but they do. Put my nut on this upper one, and I'm just like snugging them up. Now we're gonna take the jack and jack up this wheel to line it up. Oh. There we go. All I'm gonna do is bump it with a impact. Since this is the live valve model, you're probably going to throw a check engine light because of it not being plugged up. I wouldn't recommend driving at all on these because, you know, they could flex and bend and do some damage. So we're just gonna go park it out of sight, out of mind, and wait for our new parts to come in.
Is it throwing a light?
Yeah. So you can see it's got this exclamation mark and shock. That's what it's gonna do if you unplug your live valve. We'll see you in a week.
3 weeks later.
So we got our shocks back from Shock Therapy. I'm telling you guys, it was super awesome working with them. They did these the same day that our appointment was. They had them shipped out the next day. So you can expect anywhere from 2 weeks to 2.5 weeks to get these back. So your buggy will be down for, you know, half a month or so, but they are in Arizona, so they're pretty good ways away from us. So super simple, putting everything back in. Just make sure you orientate your shocks. Ours was like this for the driver front. This reservoir was kind of sticking out this way. Just gonna bolt them all back in. We built these, if you remember earlier in the video, we built these standoffs so we could at least pull the vehicle out of here. I highly recommend that. It's just 1-inch tube, put it in a shop press down the ends and drill a hole in it. I think, I can't even remember what size hole we did, but get these put on because I'm super excited. We are gonna be putting our stock tires back on instead of our 32s. The 32s really bog down this engine. Like, we're definitely gonna run them in the trails, but we ride on the road a lot when we're home. So we're gonna put our stock 28s back on. We're also going to be pulling the spare tire off and keeping it on the trailer because I feel like we had the worst blowout possible the last time we rode and we still made it out of the woods with patches and stuff. So I don't feel like we need that weight high up on the chassis. So that'll help out. They tuned this for the exact weight you're going to have on the chassis. So let's get them installed. Pretty excited. Last time we rode this, our neighbor has pretty much like a motocross track. We took this on it with the spare tire. My wife was in the back seat and Lonnie was in the front seat, and we was absolutely bottoming out these shocks like hard. My lower back was hurt for the next like 3 days from it. No joke. So this will be a good test to see if that happens again, because it shouldn't. Shock Therapy really knows their stuff. They're #1 name in the game, players. Be all right. All right, we need to pull the hood off to get to the upper one. There's our factory shocks. Fox straight shafts. There we go. So we're starting out with the driver's side. Slide it up in place. I'm an old man. When you get up and your knees sound like a pack of black cats. Now, we can't forget to plug up our live valve connector. That's it. Look how much drop. May or may not have to jack her up a little bit more. But I do like the silver coil springs on these shocks. You can get them powder coated, but you need to make sure it's the right springs for your ride. So they don't care if you powder coat them, but they don't want to receive back a powder coated set of springs. So make sure you ride it for a good while before you do that. I think I'm going to leave mine silver. Before it had red A-arms, red springs, and the red chassis. And I love red, but I like to break it up. And I think this will do a good job of that. So let's get to putting the rest of them in, Blue.
Voila.
And front is done. I mean, super simple to pull them off. Back was a little bit more work because we had to pull off a panel, and we still have that panel off. It is the same panel you would have to remove if you're installing this snorkel, because we've installed Super ATV snorkel. This panel would cover all this, so we did have to remove it. And there's a clip that holds the plug for the live valve. So now we can take these out, do the same thing as the front. We're ready to try it out. Might be a good idea to unbolt one side of the sway bar to get these on. There we go.
That was much easier.
So this is the panel you have to remove to get to this shock bolt. So you do have to remove it on this side, you don't on the other one, you can get it out. But if you're also installing the snorkel from Super ATV, you would have to remove this anyways. But the way it goes is just slides over the shock body like this. Make sure you don't pinch your wire for your live valve. And then it kind of just shoves up in there like so. And I believe this, the way this works is it goes behind this piece here. And since we're running the Super ATV mud like fender flares, oh, there's one of the spacers. We have to make sure we get this spacer put in and get that nut started. Now we can go along and put all the clips in. Plug in your live valve. There we go. And then the live valve harness has a clip. We'll put that last clip in, then we can go install the last shock. This is exciting. Like I said, I'm not going to hook this up until after the other side's installed, then we can lift it up, slide the sway bar back in. We've actually had these shocks on the chassis for a month or so. I really wanted to give them a good test, and I'm telling you, it made the handling 1,000 times better in this thing. But true though, these shock therapies are the way to go. I'll be sending any shock I have to shock therapy from now on. It's crazy how much better it is. Now let the old engine on get warmed up. It's warm. Watch it. We don't have a comparison because it's really hard to compare shocks. You just have to feel it. Let's go ahead and enter the wood. Alright, sport. Sport. We got our shocks on sport and our transmission. wasn't touching the ground because I've been climbing with my 32s on it.
Also, this thing's super heavy and it's wet.
Yeah. Definitely needed a lot of trail maintenance. So again, I know you're not going to be able to really tell what the shocks is doing, but they're doing it. I'm telling you. I swear to you, it knocked down 10 seconds of my time through the woods. Like how fast I can drive through the woods.
Well, and that Turkey Bay,
Yeah.
you were flying through there and it was silky as butter.
Yeah, there's not one part of that like hurt my back or anything. Where before you hit some stuff and the shocks would fully bottom out, for sure. All right, we're gonna do one more lap and then call it a cigarette.
But
I want a hydraulic e-brake.
much Dale I was going to get.
Oh man, that thing, I'm telling you, the shocks made it.
This thing don't move at all either. It's nice.
Yeah, you can't move it an inch. Wow. So guys, massive shout out to Shock Therapy. It completely changed the way that Honda rides. From factory, I mean, these side-by-sides can't get the shocks right because they don't know how big you are, how big your partner is, and how much stuff you're going to have on it. So Shock Therapy goes through and has you fill out a full form saying like how much your cooler weighs, where is it at, where's your toolbox at, how much does it weigh. They break down everything like passenger's weight. So we filled it out to the best of our abilities, and that's why we took the spare tire off the back, because that was a lot of weight really high up in the chassis. And again, I've had a really bad blowout on the trails and was able to make it back, and I'm talking like one of the worst blowouts you could have. It was dual sidewall punctures, and we was still able to patch it and band-aid it out of the wood. So I'm telling you, I would not go back to the original suspension. This thing is so smooth. It really sped me up. Like, I really enjoy driving fast on trails. That's what I love to do, and it definitely made me a lot faster. So make sure to check out the link for Shock Therapy. If you have a side-by-side, they do all kinds of services. Make sure to check out the link and let them know Redbeard sent you, because it is definitely worth the money. It's one of the best investments, in my opinion, that I've did on this Honda Talon, and I will do it to any side-by-side that I have in the future. We're thinking about having them start helping us with our suspension on our buggies, because it is so dialed, it blows your mind. So make sure to check out those links. We also will be installing some more parts very soon. We got some limiting straps from Shock Therapy we'll be installing with some other chassis braces on the front of this thing. So let us know what you think about the Talon, and let you know what do you think about our trails in the woods. We need to extend them a little bit. We need to really make a jump out here in the field and launch that puppy in the air. So more will be coming on the Talon. We love you guys. We thank you so much for supporting us. Thank you, Shock Therapy, for making this video happen, and we'll see you on the next one. God bless.